Well, hello, Facebook, and welcome to the Book Spot. Welcome to the Book Spot, where we're going to talk tonight to my guest, Wilma Brockington Parker, author on the Book Spot tonight at 7 o'clock. And I want you to get ready because you're going to get some really good information. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Wilma before she comes on. And so, Wilma is a Maryland based author, executive coach, and communications professional. She's written several books, including Cinnamon Girls Blues, Office Politics, and been there, done that. Lessons learned on love and life from women 55 and better. Her fiction is praised for its engaging mix of drama, suspense, and romance, featuring well-developed, realistic characters. Beyond writing, Wilma serves as a communication officer for the Black Writers Guild of Maryland. She is also a certified executive coach, International Coaching Federation, with over 20 years of experience in human resources and leadership development. She holds an MBA and MS in human resources for the University of Maryland Global Campus and is a graduate of University of Texas at Dallas Executive and Professional Coaching Program. Wilmer is passionate about helping others grow, whether through coaching, writing workshops, community engagement. She has also written 4 short plays and enjoys line dancing, beach vacations, and crocheting compassion blankets for breast cancer patients. All right, so without further ado, let's bring on Wilma Brockington. Hello, Wilma.
Hello, Joseph. How are you?
I'm feeling good. I'm glad that you were able to make it and be a part of the book spot. I'm
Thank
glad
you.
that you
Thank you
were
so
able
much
to.
for the invitation. Appreciate that.
Awesome, awesome. So, want to get right into um, when did you first realize you wanted to be a writer?
Interesting story, Joseph. When I was a young girl, my mom would get books from there was this thing called the Doubleday Book Club, and I absolutely loved to read. So I would often read the books that she didn't have time to read. So I was reading, at 12 years, I was reading self-help books. I was reading romance novels and things of that nature. And my love of reading really propelled me into wanting to write. So I became a writer a little bit later in that, from essentially reading a lot. And I thought, I could do this too. So I started writing. I started writing short stories, which one actually turned into my first book, which was Cinnamon Girl Blues. So I learned the craft of writing through reading. And one of my favorite authors is Beverly Jenkins. And I learned a lot about writing by reading her books as well as getting some additional assistance from writing groups such as the Black Writers Guild of Maryland.
Awesome, awesome. And how long did it take for you to write a book?
It depends, Joseph. To be honest, my first book, Cinnamon Girl Blues, I probably worked on that book for about 7 years. I would stop and start. And at the time, I was going to graduate school. So in between semesters, I work on it a little bit here and there. So finally finished it and published that in 2007. My second book, Office Politics, I said to myself, I'm not going to take 7 years to do that. In that case, it took me 9 weeks to write it. So I knew I could do it. So I really put a lot of effort into being
Wow.
focused.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that was the first draft of Office Politics I was able to do in 9 weeks. So I turned
yeah.
it around, Joseph. I turned it around.
7 years to 9 weeks. That's
Yes.
incredible. So what's your work schedule like when you are writing?
Well, I run a business. I have several other gigs. So when I'm writing, I try to be as focused as possible. So I'll set some time aside. I do my best writing in the evenings. So when I'm actively writing, I'm usually writing from like maybe 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Or sometimes if I can't sleep, I'll write as well. So it can be hit or miss. But if I'm really focused, I will set my timer. Try to use the Pomodoro technique, which you set a timer for 25 minutes. You're right, and you're right, and you're right. You take a 5-minute break, and then you do another 25, and you're right and right and right, and you take another 5 minutes, and then you continue this for about 4 cycles.
Wow, wow. I like that. I like the timer. I got one right here.
Great.
That's some good discipline. Do you think it's really hard for a writer to get a book written?
It depends on how disciplined you are. If you're really disciplined and you're determined and you're writing with a purpose. Some writers say, "Oh, I'm going to make $1 million. I'm going to be on a New York bestsellers list." To me, that's not necessarily a reason to write. You have to have that passion that goes along with it, because writing, certainly for many of us, is hard work. And when we take the time to really put our efforts, our skills, what we've learned into writing, even our experiences, you'll get a better product, I believe. But you
Yeah.
have to be focused on it. And you've written several books, so you know what that process is like.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I agree with you. You do really have to be focused and just sort of passionate about what it is you really want to get out of you. Well, I'm gonna take a short commercial right here for a second just to do some little housekeeping. Wow. So that really was short.
Okay. Well, welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back. So you who out there who are watching us, you're trying to get a book written. I say to you, type in your question, type in your comment. Uh, Wilma is a experienced writer. She works with writers. Tell us a little bit about the Black Writers Guild.
Sure, absolutely. The Black Writers Guild has been around since 1997. It was created by a group of Black writers led by the founder, Lewis Diggs. So there were some charter members, and the guild has certainly evolved. We meet the first Saturdays of the month from September to June, and we have workshops on a variety of topics. We've had professionals come in to speak about self-publishing, traditional publishing. Just this past Saturday, we had a writer's wrap opportunity where there were several of us who were in a Zoom room, and we shared different techniques and best practices and some do's and certainly some don'ts to do as a writer. We've had speakers on as far as how do you best promote your book. So for some people, the easy part is the writing. The hard part is the marketing and promotion. So we have experts on that. We've had certainly panels. We even sponsor a youth writers group, not group per se, but a group writers opportunity for young writers to showcase their talents. So we run the full gamut. We have people who have published traditionally, people who have self-published. We have people who are thinking about publishing, some people who have written a sentence. So we have a wide variety of writers. The main thing is that it is a group that is warm, it is encouraging, it is certainly an opportunity for those of us who are aspiring, as well as those of us who have published.
Awesome. I have really met some great people that have really encouraged me. And this the website, do I have it right?
It's blackwritersguild.org.
Okay. Let
Spelled
me
out.
let me take that out. Let me take that out and get that right. Yeah. But great resources, great people. Like you said, some people have been published, some people who self-publish. And what do you say for like a new writer? Some people are on here, they're kind of shy right now. What would you say for a new writer? BlackWritersGuild.org, you said, Wilma?
Yeah, blackwritersguild.org.
Okay. What would you say for a new writer?
For new writers, I would say certainly hone your skill of writing. Okay. Writing has certainly changed over the years, but there are certainly some basics that you need to follow. Learn appropriate grammar, spelling, structure, because you're writing typically for others to read your work. Now, if you're writing for yourself, that's different. But if you're writing for a specific audience, you want your work to be as polished as possible. Uh, that means also you making sure you get a professional editor as well. I've seen many projects where people put things out and either it's not professionally edited or the editing really misses the mark. And that can be certainly a turnoff for your reader. So know your craft and get good editing.
Yeah, yeah. I believe editing is like huge. Um, and do you recommend at least two editors or two
Well, the-
edits?
well, there are different types of editing.
Yeah,
You can edit more or less proofread, but also content. Okay, does it make sense? You can't have a character named Bill in chapter 2, and then all of a sudden he is another name in a later chapter. So you can
yeah.
have editors that check for things like that as well. Does it make sense?
Does it make
In
sense?
addition to the grammar and the spelling
So you're
and everything
writing,
else that goes with editing.
okay. Um, would it be safe to say your writing is on fiction?
I've touched on quite a few different types of writing.
Okay.
So I've written fiction, I've written nonfiction. I'm doing self-help. I have a project that I hope to wrap up by next week, and it's how to get unstuck and start writing. So it's a
Mm,
actual workbook.
okay.
So I've done the self-help. So with writing, there's always something to learn.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't like to put myself in a box per se.
That's good. That's good. What is the motivation or the excitement for you for people coming into the Black Writers Guild, or for people to kind of get going with writing? What sort of excites you and motivates you about that?
Well, when we get new members, that's always exciting because we get people from different backgrounds. They have diverse views. During the pandemic, we actually grew because we shifted from meeting in person to primarily meeting via Zoom. So at one point, we had a woman from Ireland, we had someone from the UK, we had somebody from the West Coast, we had some people from Ohio. So that
Mm,
was something that was great. If anything, if we look at the good things that came out of the pandemic, that certainly was one.
uh-huh.
So we had more members from diverse backgrounds. So when someone new comes into our organization, of course, they complete an application. We learn about them that way. And then when we're meeting in person, many times we do introductions and we discuss our work. So we learn that way as well. And certainly we learn from each other.
Absolutely, absolutely. You got a shout out here. Family said, "Hello, cousin."
Hey, cousin, how are you?
So, what was one of the most surprising things you learned in creating your books?
Yes, Joseph, to be honest, how much hard work it was. I heard, initially when I wanted to publish that people were paying thousands and thousands of dollars to be published. And if you know anything about me, I'm thrifty. So I started looking at ways in which I could reduce the cost. The most expensive thing would be the editing of your work, but the other things, such as a book cover. A lot
Mm,
of us, we use Fiverr, Fiverr.com. You can get a professional looking cover for very little money. Okay, and that's always can be negotiable. So the cost that some people were paying was surprising. Um, Trying to get your book actually into a bookstore, that can be challenging as well. Many writers, self-published writers, they will use Amazon.
okay.
Amazon takes quite a bit of your cover. So
Yeah,
it's Amazon that's making the money, not the actual person who wrote the book. So that was surprising as well. And there's really no way to get around that.
that's good stuff. What do you think is some of the roadblocks that people just don't step out and make that book happen?
Sometimes it's fear. They may have a story to tell, and they may feel that, oh, people may be surprised, they may be judged. So all kinds of things may go into something that something that will stop somebody from writing. So my advice in reference to that is understand your why. Why are you writing a book? Who are you trying to reach? Who is your audience? And think of the vision. If you were to publish, how would you feel? What do you want other people to see?
Mm,
What's the end result that you're looking for? So having that vision, really beginning with the end in mind, can be
mhm.
helpful in
That's
overcoming the fear.
Yeah. Yeah, that's some good stuff. The fear. I think a lot of
Mhm.
people have that fear. If you out there, you got a question, I see some people on. Type it in. Don't have me running my mouth the whole time. I wanted to bring this to you in the comfort of your home or your car, where you can ask a question. You can send in a comment, because I believe people have books in them, or people have told them to write a book. I remember being in nursing school, and an instructor told me, you should write a book. And at the time, it was the furthest thing from my mind. But now I realize I got a whole lot of books to write. Because
Absolutely. Even starting small. Joseph, I teach about how you write a drabble. A drabble is a 100-word story. All stories have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And it's relatively easy to start off writing a drabble, because drabbles are typically something that that individual, that writer, has experienced. And in 3 to 5 sentences, because it's 100 words, you can tell a story. And some people even take those drabbles and expand them into short stories, or even, full length books,
wow,
just by
wow.
starting. So it's a great way to jumpstart and get you thinking about writing.
Spell that for me, Wilma.
It's a Drabble, drabble.
Drabble.
Yes.
Ah, okay. You all heard that? You see it there, Wilma?
Yes. That's
Drabble,
spelled correctly.
folks.
Yes.
It's
A
it's a
drabble.
hundred words. 100
It's a
words. You
one
can
hundred.
get
You can write a 100-word story, Joseph.
100 words. Drabble. Somebody's out there ready to start their drabble. Let me see
Yes.
here. We got a comment, Wilma. Do you determine the title first or after content is developed? From Diane Ford.
It depends. Many times I will have something in mind. And for my first book, Cinnamon Girl Blues, I had that title. I attended a small Christian college in Pennsylvania, and it was primarily white. there was about 10, maybe 10% of us were of color, and a few of my fellow female students, we became friends and we called ourselves the Cinnamon Girls. So I thought, oh, that's a great title for a book. Office Politics, I came up with that title about midway into writing. And then the How to Get Stuck and Start Writing book, I already had that title in mind. So it can depend on what I'm writing. And sometimes I'll have a working title as well.
Okay. So I hope that spoke to what you're asking, Miss Diane Ford. Hope that spoke to that. Yeah. So do you have any suggestions to help someone become a better writer? If so, what are they? Um, I'm just gonna throw this out to you. I've been doing a lot of nonfiction, and I'm ready to do a fiction because I want to grab my readers a little better. So I'm thinking I could do that through a fiction and sort of make it up and kind of not have to worry about citing this and citing that. What do you say to that? So, oh yeah, Miss Ford said thank you. Okay, what do you say to that, Will?
Well, certainly, and I will say this from experience, and some other fiction writers may say the same thing, is that you can write from your experiences or the experience of others and change things a little bit and make it fiction. So, Joseph, think about experiences. If you're thinking about writing a novel,
Okay.
and maybe certain characters do have certain characteristics. Do you know anybody that you could pattern off of,
Right.
to create characters that are realistic? And certainly there are several books. There's a book I have on my shelf called Character Traits.
Okay.
And if you had a character that was an accountant, it'll give you a list. But now we also have AI. You could go to
Yeah.
AI and say, tell me the characteristics of a nurse that's working in a large hospital. And it will give you a list of some
Wow.
characteristics.
So we got a new era, a whole new era.
AI has changed the landscape for writing.
So how do you think it will impact getting books written now?
Well, the thing about AI is we have to be careful with it, because anything that you put into AI becomes part of the public domain. If you ask AI to write a short story for you, it can do it. However, it does not belong to you because AI wrote it. So you can't copyright it.
Wow.
Okay? So as a writer, you certainly have to be careful. Some use AI for some self-editing. If you want sentence structure, you could put in a sentence and say, is this grammatically correct? And AI will tell you if it's grammatically correct.
Okay. Well, that's good to think about. Even though I wouldn't use it, I would want my own original ideas and thoughts.
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't use it there. I mean, but I do use AI in some instances. Yeah. So, what do you think makes a good story when it comes to a book? Sometimes people are looking for a good story.
It certainly depends on the genre. So, you think about, when you're writing, I'll use romance as an example. So even before that, all stories have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Good stories are derived of characters that can make sense. They could be unusual. All of us have flaws, so your character needs to have flaws as well. You have to be descriptive enough for your audience so that they feel that they are within your story. You want them to feel that they are a fly on the wall and they're watching. So having a relationship with people who will purchase your work or read your work, knowing, what is going to be exciting to them. Okay. You have to tell, are you writing for them or are you writing for yourself?
Mhm. That's good. Do you ever hear from readers much? And what kind of things do they say to you, Wilma?
Well, I hear from readers all the time. Um, I hear, oh, I really like that character, or I was surprised by this. So as a writer, you thinking, oh wow, okay, I made an impact. Sometimes I get, are there going to be more? And sometimes, usually, when I'm finished a book, I don't have in my mind that I'll do a sequel. I've thought about it, but I haven't taken action on that. So that makes me feel good that they want to read more. So that excites me, and it also encourages me as well.
Yeah, yeah, I bet. Do you feel like a writer has to also be one who reads a lot?
Absolutely. That's how we become better writers, by reading. So some of my favorites include James Patterson. He writes a lot of mystery. Absolutely love the Alex Cross series. Another one of my favorites that I mentioned, Beverly Jenkins. I read her book back in the 90s called let's see, I forget the name of it right now. Night Song. I'm sorry, Night Song. So I loved her writing from the very beginning, and she's probably published at least 60 books since then. So
60
that
books.
reading, that constant reading, gives you ideas as a writer and makes you a better writer.
Okay. Well, you answered my question. If you would be a better writer, you got to be a
You got to
more.
read.
Gotta read. Gotta
For
read. Gotta
sure.
read. Yes, yes. So we're talking about book writing. I have Wilma Brockington Parker here, phenomenal woman who loves writing and loves to help people with writing. Um, so tell me a little bit. I think you said some things about your role with the Black Writers Guild. Was there anything you might have left out?
Well, I've been the communications officer for the guild probably at this point 8 years or so. Uh, when I joined the guild, I became the treasurer. At one point, I was the secretary. Then that led me to some other roles. I also did some coordination for events, which led me to the current role of communications officer. So anyone that's coming into the guild, I send out a welcome letter. I manage the meetings that we have online as well as the ones in person. It's a very fulfilling role that I volunteer for, and I'm very passionate about. I'm very passionate about writers coming in and keeping that legacy that Mr. Diggs created over 2 decades ago.
Wow, wow.
Okay.
And great organization, folks. I am a part of the guild. I don't always make it to all the meetings, but I still love getting the emails and keeping my dues paid. Um,
We appreciate that, Joseph.
and sometimes I'm called on to be a speaker too, so I
Yeah.
really enjoy that one too.
Yeah.
But
And we're always looking for different speakers, that will enlighten us. We're always, in our group, we're always learning. There's always something new to learn, and especially from a writing standpoint, as well as marketing and promotions. So it's a great opportunity to get those experts in. And membership is only $40 per year.
wow, wow, wow.
So that's a bargain in
Yeah.
today's economy, for
Hmm.
sure.
And I want to tell the audience, you will come away with some really great information and inspiration as well. When you hear people who are doing well, who are making things happen, and it will charge your spirit. It will definitely charge your spirit. And so I know you do take a break in the summer, right?
Yes. So we have our meetings from September to June, July and August. We have summer recess, but the mailbox is still monitored. Not as often, but it is still monitored. And then we start back up in September, and usually we kick off with a bang and
Awesome.
continue that to
Uh,
June of the following year.
do you know like what's coming up for June?
We were thinking about, it hasn't been finalized. We were thinking about doing a day retreat where
Okay.
we have moments where we share our work. So that hasn't been finalized yet. So don't want to say too much about that, but we will have our meeting on the first Saturday in June. And ideally it'll be in person.
Okay.
Mhm.
In person in June?
In person in June.
Yeah, I need to
That's the
mark.
goal. That's
Yeah,
the
I need to
goal.
mark that down to be there. The weather should be good. Yeah, June. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So what else would you say, Wilma? I'm gonna just skip all these questions. What else would you say to somebody who's saying they have writer's block? Sometimes you hear
Right.
that writer's
Yeah,
block.
I've heard about writer's block. Personally, Joseph, I have not had writer's block. I've had writer's laziness, to be honest, which is a little bit different. But somebody who has, writer's block, perhaps write in a different place. Okay. Maybe you need to be stimulated by music, maybe do what are called um, prompts. So you can get some prompts. They're easy to find. And an example of a prompt is, what would you write to your 21-year-old self? Okay. Set your timer and just write for, say, 15 minutes. What advice would you give your 21-year-old self? You don't worry about grammar. You don't worry about spelling. You just write and let those ideas flow. That can help you with writer's block. Or if it's a topic that you've been thinking about, just write down your thoughts. You could write at that point, I'm not sure what I want to write about, but I feel like I need to write. If I write something, perhaps something will come to me. That can help you get unstuck.
That's good. That's really good. I really like that writer's laziness.
That's different than writer's block.
I've never heard that term, but it really makes me chuckle.
Sometimes you're like, I just don't feel like it, but you
Just
have to
so,
do it. So,
yeah.
so I sometimes write articles for LinkedIn from a business perspective. And usually my LinkedIn articles are between 500 and 750 words. And I'll get inspired. Yeah, I do professional and executive coaching. I may be inspired after a session that I have with a client based on their topic. Maybe they have a what I label as, in air quotes, a bad boss. So I one time I wrote an article about how do you deal with the bad boss, or how do you another topic that often comes up is, how do you manage up? So I could write an article about some tips or some strategies on how you manage up, okay, or deal with the messy coworker.
Ah, yeah. That should help a whole lot of people because I, I think every job has one,
Yes, at least one.
at least one. Well, you out there, folks, chime in, ask your question for Wilma. I don't want to take too much of her time, but I've been getting some really good nuggets here, and this will be recorded for you to who later will watch this video and kind of grab some things. But it's always better if you're live and you can ask the question right now, or, get it out there. So just wanna let you know, just type it in, and we can take it and see how we can help you. Because I've come to learn that getting a book out of you is one of the most satisfying things I think you can experience in life. I really do believe that taking what you like really had on your mind and putting it on a tangible form, such as a book, is just a powerful uh, ability. What do you say?
Oh, absolutely, Joseph. You can, as a man, you're never going to experience how to birth a baby. So the closer you're going to get is birthing a book.
That's another good
When
one.
you,
Another one.
so when you open up that box of your printed copies and you hold it in your hands,
Yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah.
like, I birthed this
I
book.
burnt this. And you know what? I think I have said that at sometimes. I think sometimes I've gotten on here and talked about the birthing of a book or the release of a book, but I never saw it like, hey, you know what? You're experiencing what maybe women experience, And I mean, this level of elation is just so incredible. It really
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
So,
I remember the first time I had Cinnamon Girl Blues in my hand, I cried because I'm like, it's done. I can hold it. I see it. It was an amazing feeling.
yeah, I've been there. I've been there. And sometimes, oh my God. I mean, you just just holding it. Yeah,
You're like,
just I think that whole holding it and realize like
yes,
this has really come to pass. Like this is
yes. You think about all those days and nights you spent writing and writing and rewriting and selecting a cover and
yes,
selecting an editor,
yes.
all
So
those things, and finally you have this book baby.
right. So folks, we're saying all this hopefully to stir you up, okay? We're not saying it just to brag, but we're really saying it to try to encourage you and pump you up because it really is an incredible feeling to experience. And so, I'm back.
Okay.
That's my commercial.
That was your commercial.
Yeah, I didn't line it up with the engineer, so it took the commercial away.
It
Yeah,
happened. It
yeah, it
happened.
happens. But yeah, we're not saying it to like really brag or boast, but we're just trying to stir people up who are going to watch this, who are watching it, that the book that's in you need to come out of you. That's what
Okay.
we're really saying. The
Yeah.
book that's in you has to come out.
Yeah. I see a question from Diane Ford in the chat in reference to how do you find an editor? Okay. Well, number of things. There is several websites. One is Fiverr. Another way or method is to look at some books that you enjoy. Sometimes the author will list the name of their editor in the acknowledgement section. So that's a way as well. And authors know authors. So many times we'll share information on who edited our work. And we
That's
go from
good.
there.
That's good.
Mhm. Yeah, because
Yeah.
if you get a good editor, hold on to them.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm sticking with my editor. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I actually did a consult with her just to talk about writing fiction, and then she pretty much referred me to a book that I should grab, and I just finished it. Really great book, and it's I'll grab it. And
Okay. Joseph, I think you fell off the stream.
I'm back.
Meantime, oh, you're back.
Yeah, I grabbed my book. It's called Wired for Story, and
Excellent.
yeah, Wired for Story by Lisa Crone, and great book. Talks about like just how people want a story. They don't always want fancy words and elegant writing
Mhm.
styles. They want to like get drawn into your story. And I see this a lot of times, like when I'm speaking and I'm giving talks. Once I start saying, "Hey, I want to tell a story," like the whole audience just stops because people like to hear stories. And
Mhm.
so there's another comment here. Let me see what we got. She says, "Are you an editor?"
Have edited before. I do some light editing now. I have the training I had is from a few years ago, so it's still tried and true. So I do some light editing, such as for my family reunion and for my church. I edit the church bulletins.
Okay.
So, and on occasion, I'll get some small jobs to do, but not at this time. I'm doing a full length novel or
Okay.
project.
Okay. So, woman, how could people get a hold of you?
Well, I have my website,
Okay.
wilmabrockington.com,
Okay.
and my email is wilma@wilmabrockington.com. I also have a session that I'm doing for free. It's on Saturday, May the 17th at West Baltimore United Methodist Church. Again, there is no cost. And the name of that class is How to Get Unstuck and Start Writing.
Mm,
So,
mm.
no cost to attend. It's a
Wow.
2 hour
Wow.
class. We even give you a little continental breakfast.
Oh my
But
Lord. That's too much, woman. That's too much.
yeah. And sign up is on Eventbrite. And I'm going to see
So,
if I can put that in. Let's see if I can put that in the chat. Oh, it's not letting me do it. Joseph, it
okay.
says I have to connect on YouTube. At least that's what I see on my end.
So if someone goes to wilmabrockington.com, will they be able to connect to your email?
Or go to send an email to Wilma@wilmabrockington.com, and I
Okay, let
can
me.
I can email. But if you go to Eventbrite, EVENTBRITE.com, and just put in how to get unstuck, you'll see the link
Okay,
for the class.
how to get unstuck. Okay, I'm typing it as you're talking.
Okay.
So if
And
they,
scroll down a little bit and you'll see how to get
if,
unstuck and start writing.
if so, that looks right there, Wilma.
Yes, how
Eventbrite,
to get
how to
unstuck.
get
Yeah.
unstuck. Okay, and you said they.
Eventbrite.com.
Okay, you said they went to your website. They will get your email.
My email is Wilma@wilmabrockington.com.
All right, let me just type that too. Wilma at I do a blank. Brock.
Wilma@wilmabrockington.com.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard another Wilma Brockington.com. Okay. I want to let people know. That look right, Wilma?
Yes, that is
All right.
correct.
All right. Just trying to make sure my typing skills are right. Let me see. Oh, my sister says, "How long have you been writing?" Lucille is
Okay.
my sister.
Hi, Lucille. I remember you. I remember meeting you a while ago. Thanks for your question. I've been professionally writing since 2007, but I've always had roles. My background is HR, where I was doing some type of writing. So that writing, those serious things, evolved into also writing for pleasure as well. So have a few decades in.
Yeah, long time. Long time. Yeah.
Thanks for the question.
Hmm. So I'm here with Wilma Brockington Parker, um, phenomenal writer, author, person. Wants to see people get their books written. I see another comment. So shut up, Joe. Okay. Oh, she said, thank you. Okay. Yeah, yeah. So I really do believe, Wilma, that we should give back. That what we have
Absolutely.
accomplished, we should try to give back, and that's what we're trying to do tonight. Just kind of give it back. Um,
Absolutely. As writers, we should give back, help our fellow writers as well, and that certainly also includes, our readers. Most of us will write with a purpose, even if it is a fiction project. People can learn from it as well. So it doesn't always have to be self-help or
Yeah.
other genres that are more informational.
Hmm. Yeah, I've been in that vein of self-help, but I'm starting to steer away from it and go into the fiction and just like you said, take some experiences and from other people and then myself. Because I was reading that a lot of times what we write is some of who we are too. That like some of that
Yeah,
comes out. Yeah. Some of that.
absolutely. Absolutely. If we are able to take our experiences and ravel it in. So my first two books, the main characters are in HR. That's my background. I know HR. So sometimes I get the comment, this book was written by somebody in HR. And it was.
Right. They
I didn't
hit
have
it
to do
right.
a whole lot of research because I knew it.
You knew it.
I
You
knew what
knew
I
it.
was talking about.
Good, good. Folks, we're still here. We haven't gone anywhere. And you got another burning question. Type it in. Don't cause me to say, okay, have a good night. And then you say, oh, Dawn, I meant to ask her this. Okay. So we have her here. And she's been pouring out some really good nuggets. I'm telling you, I'm really stuck on some. I'm really stuck on the what is it what we say
The
about
writer's
right
laziness.
writer's laziness, right?
It's a real thing, Joseph.
I'm telling you, I've never heard the term, but I think it's more true than we realize. So. But Wilma, I want to thank you for the night. I really want to appreciate you for coming on and making the time. Hope that you uh, have inspired. I believe you have inspired and encouraged some folks to really get going with their writing. And I thank you for the time that you've made for us tonight. So, folks, you can always look up all these comments that I put in. Her email, her website will all be in the comments on Facebook uh, as well. I'm not sure if it's maybe on YouTube, but they definitely will be on Facebook for you to kind of go back and see. Do you have any last words, Wilma?
Well, Joseph, first I want to thank you for this opportunity to talk about my writing in general, and being able to connect with your audience. So I'm very appreciative of that. For the audience, thanks for taking some time out of your evening to join us to listen to some, hopefully, some good nuggets that you can use in your own writing endeavors. And a few things, certainly if you're interested in the Black Writers Guild, we welcome you. And that's blackwritersguild.org is our website. The email is bwg@blackwritersguild.org. We'd be happy to have you as a member, and membership is only $40 annually. You get a lot of bang for your buck. And if you are so inclined, I am sponsoring through my church, the West Baltimore United Methodist Church, a how to get unstuck and start writing class. And you can sign up for that. You have to register. Go to Eventbrite, eventbrite.com, and then just type in how to get unstuck and scroll down, and you'll see how to get unstuck and start writing. Again, that class is no cost. So thank you, Joseph, again.
Awesome, awesome. And you know what, Wilma? I'm going to at the end of this list some of the books that you have, so people that I believe are they all on Amazon?
They're on Amazon. So there is Cinnamon Girl Blues is
Okay.
on Amazon. Office Politics is on Amazon. I had a third one, Been There, Done That, Lessons Learned on Love and Life. That is being rebooted. So that'll be relaunched. And
Okay.
then by the 17th, I'll have workbooks. And the workbook is entitled How to Get Unstuck and Start Writing.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So just look for the link for the two that are carrying the Cinnamon Girls in Office Politics.
Yeah, that's on Amazon.
So you can check those out too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Wilma, you have a good evening. Appreciate you all for checking us out today. And you have a good evening as well.
Okay. Thank you so much again. And thanks, everybody.